used it, but I read about it.
I
Or
will.
if you train an AI to delete your search history when you die. We're gonna need
It'll
to.
remember everything.
I mean, I think that's one of the things freaking people out is all this AI can, like, we knew all the data was out there, but now the AI can go find it all and, like,
That-
it's all searchable.
There was like anonymity in the amount of data on the internet. Like there was so much noise that it was like I could make some random weird forum post at 3 a.m. that no one is ever going to find again. But now the AI bots are crawling it and they're feeding it to people as stories on ChatGPT.
Exactly. Yeah. Anonymity and obscurity, but no longer is it obscured.
No more.
Anyway, welcome everyone. This is the AI Salon. It's also a self-help group therapy session. So if you're a little freaked out, that's normal. I'm Kyle Shannon. We have a new co-host today, Leah. So Leah's in Boston, and their fireworks were canceled due to storms, and they redid them tonight. So she had a whole bunch of people come over to watch fireworks. So she is with Firework. So Leah's not here, but we have our very own Allison Rowe. Welcome as the co-host, Allie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Always happy to step in as much as we miss Leah.
I know. Well, this is awesome. It's going to be good. How have you been? I know you're in a new gig. New gigs are always special, but how are things going? And
They are.
Has AI solved all of the problems?
All of them, 100% of the problems
Awesome.
have been solved. No, I feel like my creativity is almost so inspired that it's just made more problems than it's solved. I think that I started a new job at an AI tech company here in Denver, Colorado, about 4 or 5 months ago now, as an integrated marketing director. And of course, that was right around the time that like all of these tools were coming out and everyone was like so excited about them. And I still am excited about all of them, but I had some very lofty ideas about how much of this job I could put on ChatGPT and on Midjourney when I started it. And I will say it has not quite been as smooth sailing as I hoped it would be. It has not been quite as easy to outsource my job to the robots as I hoped it would be. But it's been a really interesting adventure. It's been really fun to take lots of tasks that I used to do a different way previously and find new ways to tackle them now. Even if it ends up being that ChatGPT will give me like 10 ways to solve a problem when I really only need one, and then I'm overwhelmed by all 10 ways. So it's good problems to have.
It's good problems. Maybe when we get to the AI Confessionals, you can share a little about your lament with the promise of AI. So the AI Salon, we've been around since December of 2022. The whole idea here is it's just a community of people curious about this, trying to figure it out. We love the community. I love the community. I think the community is amazing. And one of the things that we did early on was we set out a set of values, because it's very easy to get wrapped up with this AI stuff in I don't know, just all the crap. And so when we get together, we like to do it in a certain way, and we want a certain kind of people here. We want people to be curious and adventurous and nice and things like that. So Allie, you wanna walk us through? I'll pull the values up on the screen here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I agree with Kyle so much that it can be really easy to get overwhelmed and become afraid of all this new tech. And we felt like it was really important to found this whole community in a set of values that is more both optimistic and opportunistic for all of us. So we approach our AI adventuring with curiosity. We like to learn new things. We like to ask lots of questions and experiment. I think many of us in here kind of take a scientific approach with all of these AI tools that we want to see just how crazy we can get with them and just how much they can do. We like to approach our work here with generosity. There's no gatekeeping. There's no, I found the coolest prompt ever and I'm keeping it a secret from everyone. We like to share our tips and tricks and help each other navigate this transition. that we're all going through together here. And I think that ties into exploration and, it's a really groundbreaking time. It's a really exciting time to be testing out all of these new tools and making sure that you are, at the forefront of the developments that are happening. And we really are. We're digital pioneers. We're charting new territory with all of this together, and it's a really exciting time to be working together. There's my segue to collaboration. That again, I don't think any of us could possibly wrap our heads around all there is to know in this incredibly overwhelming landscape that is artificial intelligence and machine learning. The only way that we can do it is with the support of each other, through both working together and through sharing information and resources, especially on the Discord. Which if someone can take my normal job for me today and drop the Discord link into the chat, that would be great. And inclusion, again, I think it's just reiterating the importance of no gatekeeping here. And it's never too late for anyone to learn these new skills. It's never too far outside your wheelhouse. This is the place for anyone and everyone that can show up with that beginner's mind, that learner's mind, and share whatever knowledge and insights they have from any industry that they're coming from to the rest of the table. And last but not least, it's just really, really important that we engage in these conversations with a lot of empathy. This can be a very sensitive topic that, a lot of people have very understandable tensions about what these developments will do for the landscape of business and of jobs and of employment. And we certainly don't, this is not a debate forum. This is not an arguing forum. This is not a telling people they're wrong forum. I think to Kyle's original point, this is a little bit like therapy. We understand that this is a stressful time for everyone. And this is like your safe space to vent about the robots taking your jobs. And we're here to listen and learn from that and find solutions together, not to criticize each other. So yes, thank you, Kyle, for starting this community and for helping to found it in such important values.
Yeah, thank you. And it's important. I mean, the other thing, the diversity thing is an interesting one. I mean,
did I miss diversity? Sorry.
No, I don't think you did. I don't. There's
inclusion. Got it. Go for
inclusion. But this is. The generative AI stuff is new. Machine learning and AI is not new, but the generative AI stuff is new. And so, people are coming from all sorts of different professions with all sorts of different perspectives. And I think to a person, we're all trying to figure it out. And, Jane's looking at me right now. She's a copywriter, and now she's an AI amplified copywriter. And it's still it's just crazy. So anyway, one of the things that I love doing is just, the group is still small enough and intimate enough that we can get to know one another. So the other thing I'm very excited about is I think we've figured out our audio issues here in Denver, where we can introduce ourselves and you can actually see us and hear us. So I'm going to do a switch here, and then we'll start with introductions here in Denver, just because I'm excited to try the new toy. We have a talking stick. And then for those of you remotely, if you would just raise your hand, and Ken will give you a minute to introduce yourselves. We'd just love to hear who you are, what you do, and kind of what's your relationship with AI. So let me flip some switches here, and then we'll do Denver intros first, and then we'll go to online. So if you're online, just go ahead and raise your hand now, and Ken will just seamlessly pick up when we finish here in Denver. All right. CJ, you want to go first? Oh, yeah. So just take this and pass it around.
Oh, good. Gravy. All right. Hi, guys. I'm CJ, based here out of Denver and Aurora. I'm a graphic designer for a nonprofit and a generative artist. And I am happy to be here, happy to be breathing and alive.
Hi everyone, my name is Steph. Kind of just here out of curiosity, I've got a sort of passing hobby in game development. I'm a professional scientist, do a lot with image analysis. So I've heard of some of the failings with AI and field image analysis. So I do, so I'm curious.
Hi everyone, my name is Shai. Yeah, I am a data scientist personally, and yeah, I'm a special creator, but I'm interested in the people lyrics. Yeah, those fields.
Brad Perkins, I'm a digital product designer and just kind of growing my knowledge base on AI to incorporate into workflows for digital product agencies, other creatives like myself.
Okay. My name is Jane Endicott. I'm a copywriter. I'm also a fiction writer. I'm also an organizer for the group. I've been using ChatGPT pretty much every day for my work that I get paid for. And when I'm not having existential crises, I'm like trying to redefine or kind of rethink like what it means to be a writer. It's definitely just revolutionizing what that is. Not much.
Hey everyone, I'm Ken. I'm an organizer here at the AI Salon. I am interested in generative AI, whether it be ChatGPT, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, GPT 3.5, or whatever version they're on now. And also still looking for a job if anybody has any tips out there. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about the organization or if you just want to chat about AI. Great. Okay, I'm gonna turn things. Wait, I gotta flip my switches back.
We're
Oh.
getting some comments of the audio.
I think the
Okay,
last
well-
few people, the microphone worked okay. It was before that it was cutting out a little bit.
Wait for it. Okay, I think we're back. Was that better or worse?
Somewhere
Got
working towards better, but not there.
We'll be working towards better. All right, we'll take it. All right, so we got a lot of hands raised. I guess we will start with KP Kelsey first.
Hello. So my name is Kelsey Payne, but I've been called KP before, so feel free to call me KP now. I'm not sure where to start. So I've been, for the past 3 years, starting from COVID, I've been building this series of language learning, specifically Japanese language learning content, and been teaching it and been revising it and been teaching it. And then a couple of months ago, ran into ChatGPT and had a lovely conversation with it, and realized that everything was about to change. And so now I'm in this sort of pre-midlife crisis where I'm like, I was postponing that for a little while longer, and it just hit all the more now. So now I've used it for so many things. I mean, it writes sentences wonderfully. I still have to get it checked by a Japanese colleague of mine, but it's like it writes sentences well. It creates voices that I can use in content and stuff. But I'm also at this place where I'm realizing that I really want to kind of move on and think about other skills that I have, like data and such, that I enjoy. So I may also be looking for a job fairly soon too in this industry.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate that. S. Thompson, you're up.
Well, hello there, everyone. Let's see. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I'm Skylar, hailing from a coffee shop in Greeley. I've been programming machine learning and home automation in Python and NLTK. And for my day job, I was the global director of security operations for a global company, but was since laid off just last month. I loved the role. Directing security operations was a perfect fit, and loved the travel. I'd love to find a new role to be excited about in the AI realm, and I'm glad to get to meet you.
Welcome. All right, thanks. Kelly Williams, your turn.
Hello, I'm Kelly from New York City. I'm a public school teacher. I teach 18 through 21-year-old students with disabilities, mild to severe intellectual and physical disabilities. And I'm just interested in how AI can support them in becoming more independent, and also just learning about maybe the competition that they will have when they enter the workforce. They're non-traditional students. They won't be going to any college or university. We're just here to support them in gaining some sort of employment. So I'm interested in exploring that more.
That's exciting. Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot on some of the lives that I've been doing of people where they've got mental challenges, things like that, or they're not really good with writing, that these tools can really augment that and help it. So that's exciting. So welcome.
Yeah, and lots of them are like nonverbal too. So
yeah, interesting. All right, thanks, Kelly. Cheryl Simas Valan. Cheryl, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Cheryl. I'm really at the beginning of my exploration with AI, but I will say that I attended one meeting previously, so the previous one, and I found the presentation really useful and kind of got a better grasp of things. So it's helped me along with a little bit more experimentation. I'm a writer, a technical writer, and I definitely am trying to figure out how this is impacting future work. I'm a freelancer, so I am also looking for work at the time. I've noticed a real drop in posted positions in like the last 6-8 weeks, and I suspect that AI is behind that. So yeah, just trying to figure out how to incorporate AI as a skill to help enhance my work rather than make it go away. So just happy to learn everything from anybody who's got any ideas.
Great,
That's
perfect.
the right way to think of it, as enhancing your work and not making it go away.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, we're all just beginning, so. Welcome back, Cheryl. Jeff Gray, you're up next.
Hello, I'm Jeff. I'm here in Minneapolis, and I am a t-shirt scientist. I'm working on actually developing using AI in apparel, my background in apparel, and developing a platform for print on demand. And I've been doing a lot of research and meeting with tons of people and joining this group, which has been a huge help. And I started a new company, and I am using the white cane method of management, getting through this, and it's very exciting. So I'm really excited to be here and working with AI. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Jeff. Welcome back. Camille, you're up.
Hey, everyone. My name's Camille. Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome. I've been in the background. I've been listening to some of the meetings in the past, but I haven't been able to join on and talk, so I'm glad to be here today. I've been playing with ChatGPT and Midjourney since the first days that they were released, so before the new year, which it's crazy how time flies and how it's almost been a year just thinking about it. But I was recently lucky enough to stumble into a consulting gig where I am helping a private tutoring company and training their employees to work with ChatGPT and Midjourney, where they are helping getting tailored lesson plans and doing brainstorming and creating and collaborating with ChatGPT to work on that, to help tailor them to their students for their personal needs.
All right, thanks. Welcome back. Terry, you're up next.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Terry Spataro. Happy to be back here. I have been using AI for, I feel like, a couple of years. Kyle recently asked me what projects I'm working on, and my face went totally blank because there are so many projects I'm working on. Just launched a brand new company called Skyrocket, which is a management consulting firm focused on helping companies with AI or generative AI. And I just gave this amazing talk. You know, education, I'm feeling, is more and more my calling, aside from all the creative stuff. I just gave this awesome talk for Hondo, which is this international educational company, on helping kids understand what their job prospects will be using AI. So happy to be here. Great to see everybody.
Yeah, it's good to have you back, Terry. Thank you. Claire Jacobs, you're up next.
Hi.
Up here. Oh, there you go.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Wonderful. This is my first meeting. I'm really new to the whole idea of generative AI, but I've been watching Kyle faithfully every night for the last couple of weeks. So I think I have learned everything that there is to know.
Through my twisted lens.
And I've just started playing around with ChatGPT and learning what it can do. I'm a clinical psychologist. My day job, I like to do art when I'm not doing psychology. It would be interesting. I'm interested in finding out what ways ChatGPT AI can kind of, I don't know, enhance my practice, enhance my art. So I'm just really excited to be on the cutting edge of all this and to be included in this. Thank you all.
That's great. Good to have you, Claire. Daniel Ritchie, you're up next.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daniel Ritchie. I'm a technologist and entrepreneur from Denver, Colorado. I have an interest in not just these tools that we're seeing in the AI space, but actually going deep and building them. So I'm a founding member of the Brainwave Collective. And if you stick around for AI Confessionals, I'll go into that a little bit deeper, and we'll be seeking some thoughts and feedback on that as well. But excited to be a part of this community with everyone.
Welcome. I'm always impressed with your background and microphone setup. I feel like we're dealing with a media professional here.
You're like a radio broadcaster, right?
That's right. That's right. I need something maybe.
Saturday morning.
If I'm less professional, would that be better? Here we go.
I like it.
American Beauty.
But it's AI.
There's the love.
Good to have you back, Daniel. Doug, you're up next.
Yeah, I'm Doug Kohulin. I've been with Motorola and Nokia for 33 years now. I'm working with immersive learning with the KU School of Nursing, affiliate faculty and technology advisor. We were working with immersive technology, but shifted in the last 9 months around artificial intelligence, how it can help workflow development. For those who are looking at education, that's something I really am passionate about. In my career at Nokia, Motorola was connecting the unconnected. And, I think as much as with communications, connecting with intelligence and workforce development is really important. And that's a passion I have. And so looking at the ways that we can use AI for healthcare is an area and a passion of mine. And I'm on the Kansas City AR/VR generative AI on the board or the committee, looking at how to use generative AI for XR technology as well. So these are some of my projects.
All right, great. Good to have you back, Doug. Eric Sanner, you're up next.
Hey, everyone. I'm very jet lagged. Sorry. I just spent about 2 weeks with no internet while I was traveling. Yeah, what an unusual headspace to be in. So I thought this would be the perfect re-entry.
Exactly.
So
you were deep in the metaverse, Eric?
it's crazy out there. You don't need goggles. Did you guys see that like somebody just puts on ski goggles and goes outside and does actual reality AR? Right?
Exactly.
Environments are awesome. I used to be an artist, and I was kind of obsessed with, can you collaborate with machines? When they become as smart or smarter than humans, what will we make together? And then I, left that, and now all of a sudden it's back in my head because we're at this crazy moment in time. So I just come here to learn, and if I ever have any tips, I will share them happily. But I just enjoy being kind of woken up, and we're all going to find out what's possible.
Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back to civilization. Beth, you're up.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you.
I have been to a couple earlier on, and tonight worked because it was on a Wednesday. I am from Tacoma Park, Maryland. I also have been using ChatGPT since the initial release. I'm one of those people who would do just about anything to not have to write. Like, I'll edit. I have no problem editing, but I do not like. So actually, I often use ChatGPT to interview me, right? Ask me questions. I'll tell you what to say, and then please write it. I was transitioning into a Salesforce, thinking I was transitioning into a Salesforce consulting thing, and then AI happened, and so now I'm sort of pivoting to AI ops a little bit more. And also, as an artist, I've been really like diving into Midjourney and having a ton of fun. So I also am a fan of the late night Kyle TikTok conversations.
Sorry about that, everyone.
So that's me.
All right, thanks, Beth. Cheyenne, you're up next.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Hey everyone, it's good to see you and meet you all again. My name is Shine Rouhani. I come from Aliso, California. A little bit about my background. I graduated from University of Irvine with an economics degree, and I currently work as an assistant project manager at a construction company. And although I love my job, I've been hearing so much about this artificial intelligence and how people are coming up with ideas how to work with this technology. It's kind of like how when internet was first invented, how we had all these streaming services. So my goal is, and my dream is to eventually, get into the tech industry that's related to AI. But before I transfer that to that, my goal is to learn as much as I can about artificial intelligence, and that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Welcome. Good to be here. And Eric Rowland, you're up next.
Everybody, sorry, I'm in my kitchen making dinner. Yeah, so I do like 3 primary things. Sorry, my dogs are now. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So the 3 main applications that I'm working on right now are in marketing tech. So that includes things like tile nodes, so creating profiles from LinkedIn for ad agencies. I'm doing product reviews, social media, so like competitive analysis type stuff. There's legal applications, so I'm working with a brand on IP litigation, so can talk about that. And then I'm doing some work in life sciences, so I'm working with a geneticist to like automate scientific research papers. And yeah, I can talk about that more if anybody cares about any of that during the confessionals.
Yeah. Basically, everything Eric is touching is completely revolutionizing the thing he's touching, which is cool. So,
I
Jeff,
have
do you
a
want?
question. I'm sorry. Can Eric repeat what he said about LinkedIn, the work with, what was that?
Oh, yeah. So it's for an ad, it's an ad agency, but like other people could use it. But the idea is like, they're going to go out and sell to people. So I go out and I take their LinkedIn profile and then I give them insights about the people that they're going to be working with. So they have like a list of questions. They can understand what type of tactics might work with that person based on like their background and things they say.
Thank you.
Sure.
And if anyone's new here online, just go ahead and raise your hand. It's on the bottom toward the right, the little hand icon. Raise your hand and you can introduce yourself. And Jeff, do you want to come over and just introduce yourself quick?
Yeah.
Just come over to my camera here. It'll be easier than the mess we had before.
Hey guys, my name is Jeff. This is my first time here. I saw Kyle at Creative Mornings do a really awesome talk on AI about 2 months ago or so. I'm a coach. I support creators, creative entrepreneurs, small business leaders, and help them bring their biggest ideas to life. It's kind of productivity, leadership, coaching mix. And I'm a musician myself. I'm really interested in AI, just in how to support small businesses, the impact it's having on creatives. And I've used it a few times for music writing. I do a crazy style of kids music inspired by my 4-year-old son. And sometimes I've used it to help me with my lyric writing and rhymes that would work with a little kid or whatever. But I'm mostly just here to learn, get inspired, get ideas for how to use AI. I use ChatGPT mostly for just like writing and editing and brainstorming, using it as like a partner, collaborator to spark thinking. And recently I've been experimenting using it as like an assistant to help me with my client intakes or prospecting calls, and kind of analyze what people are saying and what to ask or what to recommend or probe deeper on. And it's been interesting. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. Thanks.
Great. Welcome. Looks like we got one more hand raised virtually. Mark, Fabian, you're up.
Hi. So can everyone hear me?
Yep. I can hear you.
Cool. So I have like 5 years experience in sales, 5 years experience in data analytics. I was a data analyst for a while. Just recently unemployed. I'm usually a tech savvy person. I like everything tech, and I was thinking of getting into AI for like 3 possible ways: either learning machine learning and being a machine learning engineer, or starting my own businesses, or be a freelance consultant for AI. Those are my 3 options that I'm pondering about my head. But I also wish that AI could fulfill some of my business ideas that are, in my opinion, like, I have like world-changing ideas and seeing if I could ever put it to life. So that's my goal here.
Great. Those seem like good options. And you're with the right crowd. You got one more, Kay Hudson.
Hi. So my name is Christy Eason. I work for the largest private company in the world. We're not using AI. I'm a secret cyber person who uses it on the side. And I'm also I'm a public relations flack, so I'm also observing kind of the adoption and the kerfuffles that are happening when people are deploying this. And I posted a couple of really juicy articles in the chat for your consumption about people really stepping on it, trying to use this tool without really thinking it through. So executives gonna executive sometime. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome here. And the reference that Chris just mentioned is from an Ethan Mullock piece that I'm posting into chat right now called Detecting the Secret Cyborgs. Basically, employees using AI as productivity enhancers and not really telling their organization about it. And the organization either being clueless or being resistant to AI. And so there's this interesting sort of subculture within big organizations forming of AI literate people that are secretly AI literate. So, yeah. And what Ethan Mullock talks about is what the bosses need to do is make a safe zone and say, you're not going to get fired. We do want to learn about this, right? And so fascinating times. So Allie, there's a couple of news items. You and I were talking earlier. There's a couple of things that I think are worth pointing out. One of them that you may not know kind of happened, like it didn't get as much press as I thought it would, but OpenAI has removed access to the internet from ChatGPT. So browse with Bing, the browse with Bing option in ChatGPT was pulled. Now, what's weird is Bing.com's chat is still connected to the internet. And the plugins connected to the internet still work. It's just OpenAI's browse with Bing feature is pulled. Apparently, what it was doing was pulling content from behind paywalls and serving it up as if it were free. And they also got served with a lawsuit from some publishers citing that because GPT-3 and 4 were trained on not published novels, that's bad. So interesting move there. And then there's also the Threads is coming out pretty much as we speak, which is Meta's Twitter competitor, as Twitter and Reddit are kind of restricting access to their data. And you had some thoughts on that. So yeah, like what are your thoughts on all this stuff going on?
I'm especially fascinated about what's happening right now with user-generated content across the internet. I think all of these chatbots have been trained on Reddit threads, Twitter threads, Quora threads, and now all of these websites at the same time are suddenly cutting off. They're putting paywalls up. They're making everything that was previously public now private, and they're charging the companies that want to access it to train bots or anything else or provide another service like absurd amounts of money. There's lots of like kind of protest activity happening around the internet. A lot of people are predicting that it will be the downfall of both Twitter and Reddit, which I didn't know about. The Facebook, basically, it sounds like Facebook is kind of like waving a flag of like, okay, Twitter and Reddit, if you guys want to screw everyone over and like give up on your business, go for it. We'll introduce a copycat tool and take all of that activity. But it's very interesting that all of this content that is now suddenly so accessible and so valuable, I feel like it's really important for all of us to keep in mind at the end of the day that that is user-generated content. All of these people arguing over the right to make money off of that content, they didn't pay for it in the first place. The users of those communities gave it to them for free. So I don't know, we're just in a really interesting landscape right now that, especially with the values of this group, I think that in the early meetings of this group, something that I heard expressed a lot was, how do we make sure that through this revolution, the people doing the work get a cut of the pie? And what I'm seeing right now is a bunch of big corporations fighting over who gets the biggest cut of not their pie. So yeah, that's my take on it. And I just think it's so interesting that now Facebook, despite its decline over the past, 10 years, is now maybe even bracing for a comeback with that. I know Snapchat is also trying to push for a comeback right now as well.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And you know, the Threads application is decentralized, right? Which is, you know, and Meta's been open sourcing a lot of their technology. So yeah, who'd have thought, you know, Zuckerberg, you know, could end up being a hero here? I don't know. Yeah, it's fascinating time. Yeah. And it's also, you know, I think the other thing here is there's a part of it like they're trying to make money off all this. What it could also be is they're just trying to hedge against business model disruption, right? Like if all of a sudden these tools have been trained on, you know, all of the data that was there, and I don't have to go to a site to get that data, you know, that threatens, you know, the livelihood, which that's Google's facing as well.
I think that makes sense for like as an argument from like a Wikipedia. I guess that's still user generated, but it's more like people contribute knowing that it's for the greater good, knowing that it's like meant to be open source content. But I don't feel the same way really about Reddit or Twitter. I feel like they've struggled to monetize, and that's kind of their problem. I don't think they're entitled to like, they're not currently making money off of user generated content. It's just now valuable now. It wasn't valuable 2 years ago, and now it's valuable, so they want it. And I'm like, no, just no.
Yeah, it's just the weirding of business. It's like COVID makes stuff weird, and I think AI is going to make it even more weird.
It feels a little bit like just to kind of like round out that conversation. It feels a little bit right now like kind of like a rapid cash grab of like everyone really is trying to make sure that they everyone is afraid that the pie is going to disappear and be automated and they're not going to get a piece of it. And everyone is like rushing to grab something that they can hold on to that is going to offer financial security for the future.
Yeah, for
really,
sure.
We can't have that financial security. It's too much of an unknown.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing that I'll share, this isn't really news, but it's something that I discovered that I was like, hey, holy crap. So, and it kind of goes with OpenAI removing ChatGPT's access to the internet. Bing, which is built on top of GPT-4, so Bing's chat is GPT-4, it's still connected to the internet. The other thing that I found out today is image generation is now incorporated into Bing chat. So when you're in Bing chat, you can just say, make me an image of this, and it's DALL-E, and it'll make an image. But it also, you can upload images to it. So you just drag an image to the chat box and tell it to describe the image, and it will do image analysis. So the multimodal piece of GPT-4 is now a feature within Bing chat. I didn't know that. I don't know how long it's been there, but that was a revelation to me today. So.
Kyle, are you sure that there's still a version connected to the internet? Because I can't help but wonder aloud that the biggest change that I'm referencing with this Reddit Twitter stuff happened on July 1st is when they changed their APIs. So I'm curious if any of this publisher firewall stuff is actually Reddit just put the firewall up. That just happened on July 1st. So
I don't know. The OpenAI was served with a lawsuit from publishers about the fact that it was trained on novels.
Okay.
So my gut is that their lawyers are hypersensitive right now, and maybe they got a cease and desist from someone. It might be related to Reddit, but if it's paywalls, Reddit doesn't really have a paywall. It's probably someone more like the New York Times or some big media organization where their content was being leaked.
Reddit has a paywall now. That's
I see.
For any non-individual user, any commercial entity must pay significantly to access any content on Reddit.
Yeah, yeah, but I have no idea what it is or how long it's going to last. But fascinating times. So,
and I think Eric, you have a comment, question.
Yes. Kyle, did you use that feature with dragging in the photo to Bing?
What's that?
Were you able to use that feature of dragging the photo into the Bing chat and have it?
I was. It
worked surprisingly well.
Yeah, it worked surprisingly well. It doesn't seem to, if it's got a picture of a person, it doesn't, it's basically ignoring people. But anything like, here's a control panel, or, here's an image of, Ali had done an image in Midjourney, and I just dragged it in there and I said, what's this a picture of? And it described it pretty well. So yeah, it's amazing.
That's great. I feel like I tried it a month ago and it would just spit out nonsense.
So
you showed me a picture of a tree when it was a picture of a telephone, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I was testing out a different feature of Midjourney up here, and that's what Kyle took to create this. So I was honestly really surprised at how detailed. This is more detailed than the prompt I wrote to create the image, but it's actually quite accurate. I was very surprised by how accurate it was. I haven't done so yet, but I kind of want to take this and use it as a prompt and see what it comes up with.
Yeah, and someone had asked me earlier, like, how does this compare to the Descript function in Midjourney? I think Midjourney is more, specialized toward creating a prompt. But yeah, it did a surprisingly good job. Why don't you keep sharing your screen, Ali, and we'll set up. Why don't we shift gears here? We'll flip over to AI Confessionals. So the basic idea here is we'll have Ali go first since she's got her screen up. But if you want to do it here in Denver, just let me know and we'll sort of figure out the technology. If you want to do it online, just raise your hand. The basic idea here is Ken's going to give you 10 minutes. You can talk for the whole 10 minutes. You can talk for 2 minutes and open a conversation. But would love to just hear, anything that you're doing in AI. It could be a revelation you've had. It might be a project you're working on, you want feedback for. It might be insights. It might be an abject failure. Where you've learned something, right? That's valuable to everyone as well. So with that, why don't we? I'll have Ken start the clock for you, Ali, and tell us what you think we should know.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to test out the describe feature, but is it /describe? Does someone know? It doesn't seem to be working. Is it not integrated with our channel? Okay, I can skip that. That's fine. So yeah, I really wanted to talk today. Okay, so my confessional is that when I started my new job 5 months ago, I thought that I could automate so much more of that job than I actually could in execution. There was a lot that I thought I could do really quickly with Midjourney and Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT. And there definitely are things that are way, way easier and that I can do really fast now. And I love those. But there's also a lot of things that I feel like the tools aren't there yet, or they're not ready for commercial use in that way. All of that said, I think the 2 new features that Midjourney has added in the last 2 days make a pretty significant impact on the commercial viability of its use. So I just kind of wanted to show those features real quick in case anyone hasn't seen them. I think they're pretty cool. So overall, I was playing around with them earlier. The 2 new features are zoom out and pan. And that basically just means to it's out painting. If you're more familiar with Stable Diffusion, it's adding additional segments onto an image that you've already started, matching, kind of blending together the boundaries and matching the style of what you created. So you can see in this example, I started cute animals wandering a horizontal trail through a forest with berries. And then the next one, I wanted to reiterate the trail, so I kept the prompt the same, but you can also, you'll see, so here are the arrows that show up as you start to use the pan tools, the directional tools, and that's what I was using here. So I started adding to the right side of the canvas that I wanted a spooky, creepy gremlin hiding in a mysterious forest full of vibrant magical berries. When you click these buttons, you can rewrite the prompt to say something else that you want to be there. Let's try fairy castle in the woods. We'll let that run. And then I think, yeah, so some other people were in here playing around with these as well. The other kind of exciting example that I was playing around with, I need more time on it, but it was website mockups, which I think this has really great potential using these pan tools, not necessarily for something that you could upload to a website tomorrow, but it equips more average, ordinary, everyday people to tell their story digitally and online in really cool and compelling ways. So I started off by just asking for a B2B website, and it was kind of giving me more than I wanted. So I started thinking of it more in terms of modules, and I picked a theme that I decided it was a time travel agency. And you can see that it's given me some, this is probably more of a car ad. This is almost like a theme park. It's given me lots of options, but you can see that it's focusing in on a hero module. I decided I liked this third one best. And now I can use the pan tool to add another module down below that. So this isn't the best example. As I said, I need to play around with it more. I picked this one because I liked that it added a clear button and additional text, but I didn't change the prompt very much. What I would actually want to do if I were reworking this would be, actually I'll show a better example real quick. As I continued my time travel explorations here, I wanted to what would a train station, an interdimensional train station's train schedule look like?
That's cool.
And then I started looking at maps and weather. And you can see it's creating all kinds of interfaces for me, and I can keep adding down additional modules below it. And the best part about this is it adds resolution. Every other function of Midjourney reduces resolution when you increase the size. This keeps adding to it. So my ultimate picture will be enormous if I keep adding another sliver on over and over again.
So just to be clear, pan in particular is adding to resolution, but zoom out is not?
Correct. And if you zoom out on a pan, you're going to lose that resolution. There are details of that. If you go to our community Discord in the announcements channel, it just adds a copy of the biggest Midjourney announcements, and the details of how to use those tools are copied there if you want to some more clear settings of how to play around with those.
Great.
It looks like we have a question from Daniel Ritchie.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me see if I can. Oh, so here we can see like a different iteration of, and sorry, I will take that question, but I just want to show real quick. Now it's added a castle, it's incorporated the path together. You can see how you could almost make a whole like children's book by continuing to stitch together images like this, and it would maintain the same style for you, and it would keep adding resolution. It wouldn't keep shrinking the image down. Each one would be a full resolution generated image.
Wow, that's cool.
Was there a question or accidental hand raise?
Hey, this is Daniel. I think the question was actually answered about the panning versus zoom out. It sounded like you could get the same image either way, but the resolution is either increasing or decreasing depending on which one you use.
It's not quite the same. Let me find a quick example of what I've been working on with the zoom out feature. I've mostly been focusing on landscapes. And these aren't even the best example, because what I think is really cool to do with landscapes is that you can start extremely zoomed in. So I could start with an image of a flower. Let's just do it. Sorry if I'm taking too much time. Feel free to cut me off, but we'll imagine a rose real quick. So yeah, most of my experiments in the last couple of days were with the pan tool, because that just came out. I don't even know, at like midnight last night. I might not have slept last night.
Eric's jet lag, you're sleep deprived. That's good.
Let's see if I can go far enough back to show one of my
dogs living together.
Oh wait, nope, it's because I'm in the wrong channel. Me and my organization, right? I don't know how to keep them straight anymore. Okay, so this is what I was trying to do with the zoom out, is that I could, okay, for the longest time, I could not get like a long winding trail through nature. It would only make short trails. So I made a short trail, and then I kept zooming out. So it maintains the detail in the trail all the way down to like the teeny tiny pixels down here. But the image resolution itself does get smaller over time. So while it would be maybe using this same segment, it is using this exact same segment. Like what is right here is now the center of this. And you can see that it kind of started to fail a little bit here, but this outer edge is what it's added to my image.
And I assume you could use multiple images of the zoom outs in an animation.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And then I think the coolest part of all of this, so there's the zoom out 2x and 1x, but really what you want to be using is custom zoom, because then you can change the prompt again. So as I was trying to start there, I could start with a rose, and then the next prompt could be a field. The prompt after that could be like mountains or an ocean, and you could just keep zooming out forever. And at the end of your art piece, you would still see the teeny tiny rose that you started with in the center, and it would expand all of this detail.
Super cool.
It gives you more control, I think, over the composition of your work, because you can start with that zoomed in view. And I would say if anyone wants to play around with this, it does require a little bit of a mentality shift in, okay, what is the tiny detail that I want to be in this? And you need to start with that tiny detail instead of the large detail.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the zoomed out, whenever you zoom out, you get just another mid-journey image, like whatever that resolution ends up being. But if you pan, you're basically saying append additional.
Correct.
Yeah. Very cool.
And you can combine them together. Like you could zoom out for a while and then add pans onto it. But I believe from the instructions that are shared in that announcement channel, it was pretty clear that anytime you use the zoom function, it's going to reset that resolution back to the original like generated resolution that Midjourney uses as its default.
We are at our 10-minute mark.
Thank you, Allie. That was perfect.
Awesome. Thanks.
Very nice. Yes, golf claps all around. All right, who's next? Got some hands raised? Oh no, we've got applauses. Confessionals? Anyone here in Denver? Anyone online?
Daniel Ritchie.
All right. If I can get off mute, I will get going here. What a cool opportunity. This community has been, it's really wonderful to see so many people that are inspired by what's happening in this space. You know, I think we've all talked about how this is a big deal, and I think that means a lot of different things to all of us. It impacts our jobs. It impacts our futures. We can imagine new opportunities, and it's global, right? This is something that is simultaneously affecting not just all of our different experiences as individuals here, but also around the world. Kind of wild to think about all these different changes. So the inspiration for me, for the Brainwave Collective, really came from exactly that. And I really spent a lot of time thinking about how do we address these changing needs, but from a more kind of meta perspective. Of course, not Meta, the company here. You know, I think of let's see, I think it was Mark Fabian during the call earlier had said something to the effect of finally having this opportunity where they can now put big ideas to life. And a lot of people that I talk to are saying similar things. I feel like everyone is leveling up in this space as a result of all these things. And I start to question, does it make sense for someone with a big idea who in a few weeks, a few months, whatever it is, can build out a multi-million-dollar idea? Does it make sense to do that as part of a corporation? Of course, if we think we've got a great idea, we're going to say, well, let's go launch something on our own. I spoke with a salesperson last week with zero tech experience who within 2 months created a project which included not only a website, but also an app, and is now kind of a one-man band for this new effort that he's working on. So I guess if I need a confessional here, it's effectively that I have no idea what I'm doing. I have some ideas, and that's why I wanted to get this off the ground. So the reason, two specific asks for today. The reason I wanted to get in front of you is first realizing that I'm trying to do something relatively new, and almost every conversation that I have about it is a little bit different. And I really need to understand how to convey, this really grand idea of a new way of working together, working with a group, working as an entrepreneur, learning together, building amazing things, and then going off and creating products. I want to understand, I want to help people understand that there's a very low barrier to entry. Of course, we're all learners. I think I'm peers with everyone here, and that, we all want to learn these things. We have an interest, the people that I'm working with, to actually build things and create new products. So there is a product focus, a service focus. And I have no idea how this comes across to other people. I have no idea what you hear when I start talking about these things. And this gets more important over the next few weeks here as we formally open the door for bringing on new members. So really trying to understand, how do I convey this focus correctly? I'm curious what your thoughts are and just what it sounds like I'm trying to do. And then if we have time to kind of dig into actually an elevator pitch and, help me, can I get to a point where I can actually pitch this to someone quickly and succinctly? I see Kay Hudson raised hand. Or Eric Rolland. Anybody who can come off mute and speak, feel free. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, we've spoken before, and can you two stop? I believe in what you're saying. I really feel like, I feel like this is a real opportunity for everybody to kind of do their own thing, right? Like to be that solo entrepreneur. And I do believe in, by sharing and understanding and pooling resources, we can come together when we need to and create amazing things. So I completely believe in the pitch. So maybe I'm not the best person, but I see the same thing.
Hello. Hi, Daniel. I'm
Thank you.
happy to help you frame it up. I kind of do this for a living, so I'm happy to help you frame it up. And it's really important that people invest in you. So why you're motivated by this, like what's your core value and why you're so excited. Even before the thing you're talking about, it's like people need to get to know you, and you have a lot of conviction, seem to have a lot of charisma. So I think you're going to be really great at that. So I'm more than happy to help you frame it up if you need a sounding board.
That'd be amazing. Yeah. I really appreciate that. And Eric as well. It's great to hear support. You know, I do think that this is something that can change the way that we create businesses, right? It's a member-owned community. It's an opportunity to say, let's not just learn and grow together, but actually turn it into something that can pay the bills, right? And more than pay the bills. You know, I've kind of joked, you know, I could go off and do something on my own, and then I'd have my own, you know, helicopter on, you know, with a helicopter pad on my yacht or something like that. And I kind of say, well, I think I'll tolerate a yacht that doesn't have a helicopter pad. You know, I think we can all eat and we can all do really well. And it doesn't have to be this like dramatic discrepancy that we, you know, this huge disparities that we're so used to seeing today, where, you know, a few at the top make, yes, a few at the top make, you know, an absolute boatload of money. And then you've just got a lot of other people that are trying to, you know, keep the wheels on and keep the things going. I think there is some middle ground where we can all do exceptionally well. So, you know, understanding that that's really a core piece of this, and maybe figuring out how to convey that would be great. So I'd love to talk with you more.
Awesome.
Oh, I see S. Thompson. It's S. Thompson.
And there we go. And finding the mute button. All right. Let's see. So I thought I would share the application that I used for ChatGPT, and specifically how I found that it was wrong and what I did to correct it. Let's see. I'm going to present a window here.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. But Daniel, before he starts, anything else you want to conclude with?
Still got about 2 minutes 45 seconds.
You know, I would say, you know, if anybody wants to have a conversation further about this, I really appreciate Kay Hudson, your offer there. I think I'd return the favor as well and say, you know, if anyone else wants to go deeper on things, you know, it's one thing to talk about, you know, what's going on with prompt crafting and, you know, getting things for your use cases, but we've been going a little bit deeper as well on like the deep learning aspects and understanding, you know, training models and actually doing some of the more heavy lifting things. I have to be clear. Again, we have no idea what we're doing with this. It's really an experiment to try to find out what's actually happening. But it seems like a wonderful opportunity, and you know, I want to say I embody the ideals that AI Salon has as far as being open and connecting and things like that. So happy to go deeper on those things if anybody wants to kind of roll up their sleeves.
All right, I'm gonna give you about a minute left. I'm gonna give you 60 seconds. Hit your elevator pitch in 60 seconds.
And also after this, drop a link to your LinkedIn in the chat for everyone to
Excellent.
Go.
You know, all right. Well, we're a member-owned community using the domain expertise that we already have, combined with the newest technologies to create things which are not previously possible. And we're going to share in a collective success when those products and services become something substantial. So if you have something to offer or you have an interest in growth, we hope you would join and come be a part of the community and own a piece of the future with us. Thanks, everyone.
Own a piece of the future. That's a good one. Keep that one.
Yeah, that stays in the pitch.
Nice. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, I apologize, Daniel. I didn't want to step on your toes there.
I didn't understand it as anything that was a problem, but thank you for acknowledging it. It's not an issue at all. It's totally fine. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No worries. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can share out this window out. And here's what I did with it. So I have 3 bulging discs in my neck, which caused severe muscle cramps and nerve issues for almost 20 years now. I've been on codeine for 18 of those years, but have since discovered medical marijuana, which has been a life changer. So for those 18 years, I've had 30 milligrams of codeine 4 times a day, but now I'm off codeine entirely, and I take 2 milligram microdoses twice a day, and I'm great. It's better than I've ever been. So this comes to bear because I started growing my own plants for a specific strain and content custom tailored to my metabolism so that I can use as little as possible. So I use ChatGPT to determine how much resin concentrate to add to coconut oil to provide exactly 10 milligrams content with a 1 milliliter dose. So this is the math that I wasn't familiar with that I asked ChatGPT for, and it did the math really well. It broke down everything that I needed. The problem, of course, is that it was wrong. So I started with a basic question, and then in order to fact check it, I divided the milligram content by I changed it from 10 to 100, making checking the math really easy. And what it gave the first time was for 100 milligrams per milliliter, and it proposed 250. I then asked it for 10 milligrams per milliliter, and it gave me 4. So I said, okay, ask the exact same thing twice in a row. And it gave me 4 the first time, and then the second time, it gave me 25. So I told it, hey, this doesn't make sense. 25 is less than 50. And it said, oh, I'm sorry for the wrong response. And then it gave me the exact same response again. So I said, nope, apologies, let's correct it. And then it gave me a whole nother answer at 2.5. So 3 times in a row, it gave me 3 different answers. So as I'm sitting here fencing with this AI, I realized it doesn't know what it doesn't know. And what it didn't know is that it was missing the percent concentration of the resin. So as I go through all these pieces, the resin itself has a certain percentile of concentration. And what I didn't know at the time is that that was 45%. It was pretty strong resin. I would only need a minute amount for an entire 100 milligram bottle to give me what I needed. So the piece to take away here is that one, you don't trust what it says right off the top. It doesn't know what it doesn't know. And 2, can do is extrapolate what you need based on the answers that it gives, and then determine what it's missing, add what it's missing, and then you can get the answer that you actually need. So I just thought I would share that this is how I troubleshot the information that it gave me and essentially solved for X using ChatGPT to solve for Y. So that's what I did, and that's it. Thought I'd share.
Wow. Looks like we have a question from Alan.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It reminds me like of another news article that I wanted to share earlier, which was about a lawyer who submitted a brief to the court, I believe last week, generated by ChatGPT, and ChatGPT made up fake cases, and it was thrown out. I think with this application is kind of terrifying to me. I am very glad that you had the critical thinking skills to check the answers of this, and that it was something that there's no risk of like overdose on. To me, this is really frightening in that it doesn't communicate that it doesn't know what it doesn't know. And I've encountered that quite a few times when I try to use this for work in the past. If I ask for copy, in any scenario where it's including examples of something like a list of current events, a list of things that happened in 2017, a list of movies, anytime, like those very well could be completely fabricated, and they come across as factual in the way that they're presented by ChatGPT. And I guess I just want to kind of raise the flag, especially with your example involving medication dosage. That to me seems deeply problematic for there not to be like warnings on that message that say ChatGPT is not a calculator. ChatGPT is not a math engine. This is a language processing model, and it's not capable of answering your question. I'm just worried about someone who tries to take that same challenge in a slightly different scenario where the risks are higher.
That was something that I really had to hyper focus on, is that most people, it turns out, really do not focus on exact milligram dosage when it comes to even medical marijuana. They just sort of try it and see if it works. And I work in security. I mean, I work in global security. I travel all the time. The answers I give when it comes to computer security, they have to be right. So I need a milligram, maybe 2, you have to keep it be really careful. And the answers I got out of the system were not just wrong, they were radically wrong. And it took a lot of deduction and figuring to get exactly the right answer I needed.
It's problematic that it doesn't just say, I don't know. Or like, why is it giving a false answer if it just does not know?
Well, it's
I don't think it's going to say I don't know.
The nature of how the tool works is it's a prediction model going word by word by word. It has no function after it's produced all of its answer. It has no function to go back and check it. So it has actually no awareness of the thing it produced. So yeah, I would say anytime where lives are involved, what Bradley said here when you were presenting was, this is how the AI kills us. So anyway, but thank you for sharing that.
We have a couple more questions. Cheryl, you have a question, comment?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. So in that example, you were checking the responses against your own knowledge as opposed to finding other published resources that would have a basis for a good answer.
Well, in fact, there are no published resources for this specific thing, which blows me away. I was actually forging into new territory here because nobody else had figured out how to take a super concentrate resin and bring it down to a concentration that somebody can safely imbibe. Almost everything available from Google, YouTube, Bro Science, everything that's been out there is just try it. No.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that. So this is all actually pretty new. I was foraging into some new terrain.
All right, thanks for the question, Cheryl. Daniel Ritchie, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, the idea that these large language models can create great text that sounds good is great until someone starts following these instructions, right? It's funny because it says, as an AI language model, I can't, et cetera, but it's a lot less interested in suggesting that it might be wrong, right? So Stephen Wolfram has created a pretty impressive plugin from Wolfram Alpha dealing with math and physics and lots of things. I'll drop a link for this in the chat. It doesn't solve all these problems, but when it recognizes it does make the difference between being a bullshit machine and actually being willing to do math, which should be very easy.
That's great. Thanks, Daniel.
Appreciate it. Mark, Fabian, you have a question or comment? No? Might be muted.
Oh, I was on mute. So I actually was going to say the same thing about Wolfram Alpha, because that's actually meant for math, even though you could use like natural language. They perform math things about it. But that also led me to one of my work experiences when I was using ChatGPT for VBA code in data analytics. Now, VBA is not really known by much people. It's very rare to have like documentation somewhere in the internet for exactly what you're trying to do with it. And I was, asking ChatGPT to perform like a very complicated task. And I've asked it literally like 30 times in different ways because it wasn't giving me the results that I wanted. And the funny thing is that because what I was trying to do was with like Microsoft Excel, what I normally do on Microsoft Excel, but I had to do it in the Google Sheets, their version of Excel. It discovered a flaw in Google Sheets. Like the code was actually correct, but Google Sheets could not execute it like correctly. So I find it interesting that it could actually discover bugs in that way, and that like no one else would. So that's something interesting to me about it. That even though you may not, you might get the wrong like answer sometimes from GPT, but technically sometimes you might actually get the correct answer, but something else is off. Is what I'm going.
And with that, we've reached our 10-minute mark. Great. Yeah. Want to go next?
Yeah, sure.
You want to?
I don't need to present anything.
No, okay.
I want to test out the new tech.
Yes, that's right.
Got it. Hang on, I gotta speak next to you. Calm down, people.
Hi, everybody. All right. So, my name's CJ. I started out as my professor would call it just like a normal, regular graphic designer. And then as generative AI software became available, I did what my dad told me to do. It's just jump in full of the tech. Tech is around and it's new. 2 feet, jump in fast and hard and learn. So I started having a ton of fun with it at the beginning. Still do, but I was fortunate enough to use it not only to get my graphic design position that I have now with the nonprofit, but to start actually crafting things for other people. And so I was lucky enough to get a couple of jobs and make a couple sales. And that led me more into just making my own art, the stuff that was up in my own brain, trying to get it out for everybody, or just get it out on a paper, get it out on a screen or whatever. And so I had my first little mini art show, and it was received nice. I think it went well. And then so, like I've always been told, jump into it as fast as hard as possible. Now I'm going to be this weekend selling for 3 days at a festival. So that's my own self-promotion. Scan the QR code, guys, if you want information here on the table. Which leads into really what this is all about, is learning the ins and outs of the Stable Diffusion. Like I've been using it, but didn't really figure out how to use it. I wanted to make things a little bit more specialty. So I wanted to create custom QR codes, and I had no clue how to do it. So I had quickly to learn about LoRa's and quickly learn about scripts and all that fun stuff. So a lot of reading, a lot of spending time on GitHub and Hugging Face, reading all of the comments, a couple of YouTube dives as well too. And it was about 16 work hours later, I managed to finally crack the code as it was. There was a lot of fails, ton of fails until I finally got where I needed to get to. And the thing I'm discovering is that the tools that I'm using are cool and they're fun, but without really learning it, like deep diving into all the stuff, it's just like having an Etch-a-Sketch. And so I have a lot more work to do. And I'm nervous because I'm going into this 3-day art festival against people who are actual real physical artists that can paint and draw and have conceptions that are not done with tools that are being helped by a computer like I am. So it's just going to be an interesting weekend for me as I'm putting a lot of my vulnerability out there with the art, trying to check my ego and see what happens and possibly make a buck or at least break even. God, I would love to break even. Put a lot into this one. This is the first one. that's all I have. It's quick, short, dirty. Just nervous over the weekend, and we got a lot to learn about, especially Laura's. Got to learn Laura's. Really, really.
What are Laura's?
Laura's are, I consider them to be styles that you can put on top of a script. So like one of my favorite mess around Laura's is called wushi style. And that's the Japanese form of wushi art. And so I can take something and say, a man holding a pencil writing on a chalkboard, and then use a Laura of wushi and give it a certain set strength and how strong I want it. And it will change that to a Japanese style wushi, the same prompt. And from there, then I just can start adding different Lauras to it and figuring out the strengths, figuring out what works and what doesn't, because a Laura won't work with every model that's out there. I have about 15 different models that I work with, and not every Laura works correctly the same way. So it's been a lot of hunting and pecking and a lot of trial and error, and just trying to figure out how to get it to work, but really how to get what's in my head onto that screen. Because if it's not matching what's in my head, I don't want to put it onto to photo. Let's see what happens. I hope it takes a picture. Awesome. Good. If you're here, take a picture.
We have a couple of questions. Yes, get mute there.
So my first question was, could you hold up the QR code? But that was it, and it did work. So excellent. And then the next piece is not a question, but just a quick follow-up. I think a lot of people go to those types of events to kind of see emerging things that people are doing, whether it's art or otherwise. So, your comment about...
Hey, Daniel, let me interrupt you for a second. We were doing a technical switch over here. Can you start over?
Yeah, no problem. So I wanted the QR code, so somebody beat me to that. That was great. It did work. So that was excellent. And just to provide a comment in response to CJ's thoughts about, feeling like he was a little too edgy or maybe not going to be, accepted in the right way to the community. Wanted to just say that I think a lot of people go to those types of events to see emerging art and see kind of what the newest things are that people are doing. And, as a patron of something like that, it's always wonderful to come across something new and interesting, right? I don't want to see 50 booths of people doing exactly the same thing. I want to kind of get an early preview of what's happening in the space. So I would see that not as something to be concerned about, but as something to actually kind of proudly display and feel great about, because it's I think it's a reason people are going to those types of things. Oh, and one of us seems to have lost audio. I'm not sure if that's on my end or you, but sounds like you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Anyways, thank you. I appreciate the presentation there.
Okay, we're back now. Okay. Appreciate the comments.
Yeah.
Eric Sander, do you have a question or comment?
Yeah. No, I have a comment. I just want to spend. Sorry. About like real artists being able to draw, and about you, not you, Kyle, but you who just spoke, CJ. Is it? Just about other people who are doing your work for you. I just have three quick kind of examples about that. So you're talking about wushi style. So I knew a Japanese artist named Keiko Miyamori, and I went to her show, and she had enormous excavated tree stumps suspended in the museum, and you would walk under the roots of the tree, which normally you never see the roots of the tree, and now you're walking under them, right? But she didn't make the tree, okay? It was a huge job to marshal the money, basically, and the wherewithal to be able to do that. But there's a huge, I would just say, the main thing is the more you study what artists do and have done, and the more you can kind of let go of this idea that you have to do everything. I was working on a project where I was going to convenience stores and Xerox copying tinfoil. And I said I didn't like it because I didn't feel like it was doing what I wanted. And my friend said to me, "Oh, are you a control freak?" And he had been to art school. I hadn't been to art school at that time, right? I was making art without having gone to art school. So I was in the exact situation that you're in, where you're going to be exhibiting and all these people are like, "Oh, they're real artists." But the real artist was the one who was asking me, "Are you a control freak?" So you're not. And if they are, that's fine. But and anyway, we can talk. Ping me if you want to talk more about this. I could go on for hours. That's it.
Great.
Where did you
Thanks,
say
Eric.
your art was going to be displayed? Yeah, there you go.
I can't hear you all.
You're on mute. Kyle, if you're trying to talk, you're on mute.
All right, we're back. Who's next? Next on the chopping block. Don't forget, one of our values is generosity. So if you're feeling stingy, get over it.
I'd love to be next. If I can.
All right, Emil, you want to do a confessional?
Sure. In the spirit of generosity, I actually have a couple of ChatGPT tips that might have helped, especially with what S. Thompson was saying earlier, his examples where he was having trouble. I have a couple examples that might have helped catch that in the beginning. I'll show you here. Let me share my screen.
Nice guitars, by the way.
Thanks. I think I messed up my sharing there, and I don't know how to fix it. But
if you're on a Mac, go to System Preferences. You have to go to Accessibility and give it permission for screen recording under
Gotcha.
Accessibility, and you may have to quit Chrome and hop back in.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I'll give my examples because they're just a couple of lines.
Okay. And you can also pop them in the chat as well when you're done.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. There's just a couple of lines that I like using at the end of my prompts when I'm first getting started, before I even know if the prompt's going to give me the right response or not. I just add, first, what information can I provide to have you provide a better response? And so its response at that point comes back with additional information that it wants from me to help answer the question rather than jumping right to it.
That's smart.
And then I just kind of re-edit my original prompt with that additional information and run it again. And I'll iterate through that 2 or 3 times if it's a very intricate problem, and just see how much information it wants from me that I might have just overlooked and not thought of. And then the other example is just asking it to think step by step to provide the best example or to provide the best response. Some word problems like that, it does really, really well with. The example I was giving a client was if they were going to use ChatGPT to help grade responses from a student, that was a word problem. And it's a multiple choice solution, and they just have to determine, ChatGPT is supposed to determine whether the student solution is correct out of A, B, C, D, or E. And it gets it wrong. If you don't include first think about your response in a step-by-step manner, it will just jump to the wrong conclusion and then include this really long explanation about why it thinks it's right. And it sounds right if you don't read the whole thing and double check it. But just by including first think about your response in a step-by-step manner, it starts its response by saying, let's break down the student solution, and then runs through the entire problem by itself, and then compares its own response to the student's solution and is able to identify the correct answer that way. But it's
that's
just
great. That
by
reminds
adding
me
that one line.
There's another thing that you can have it do after it gives you an answer. Have it analyze its own answer and tell you how it could make it better.
Right. There's a little bit of a double-edged sword with that, because if it does have a correct answer the first time and you ask it to double check, it might think that its original answer was wrong and go in the wrong direction. Like there's a number, like if you know that it's wrong and you ask it to double check, it usually does help. But if you're unsure and you're just trying to figure it out, that might not be the right way to go. There's a prompt I'm working on now where I'm trying to have it go through a first response in like a first loop, and then have a second loop where a supervisor comes and analyzes the first loops.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it's all in the same response. And then by the end of it, it combines everybody's responses together and just provides that final answer. But it's much more of a detailed response than if I just jump straight to the answer I'm looking for.
So Camille, just to clarify, oftentimes ChatGPT is really verbose. So I've told it, don't show your work, just give me the answer. What you're saying is that by doing so, it's not only not showing the work, it's not doing all the work. It's missing some elements.
Absolutely, yes. I suggest giving as much information as possible, and even having ChatGPT expand as the beginning of its response, because it's not only responding and adding just extra words to your original prompt, but it's adding additional words to the pattern that is created in its own response. So if it starts off with all that extra information, then it's able to follow that pattern more correctly.
Great to know. Thanks for that.
Absolutely.
Jane, do you have a question?
Oh, no, I was just gonna say, Camille, so now you're trying to screen share, and I would be interested in seeing some examples of like those word problems. Maybe if you drop some of them in one of the Discord channels and we could see it. I don't know if that would help.
Sure. Yeah. I have a couple of examples I can drop in.
Yes.
I'll drop in the Discord later. Yeah.
Screenshot, drop them in Discord, or copy and paste the
Absolutely.
text. That's great. Well, another thing I'll share, there was a Andre Karpathy was speaking to the Microsoft Developer Conference, and he was talking about why ChatGPT gets things wrong sometimes. And this sort of gets to the idea of if you tell ChatGPT to be a mathematics professor, why it gets better. What he was saying is if you just ask ChatGPT to solve a specific math problem, it's looking at all of its knowledge corpus, which includes the professor answering that problem correctly and all the students answering it incorrectly. And so it will amalgamate the answers and just sometimes give you the right stuff, sometimes give you the wrong stuff. But if you say, I want you to act as a Stanford mathematics professor that specializes in this branch of mathematics, you're narrowing the knowledge corpus that it's pulling from when it does its answer. So you have a higher likelihood of getting a right answer. So really understanding that if you imagine yourself in a helicopter, if you're really high in the helicopter looking down at the Grand Canyon, you can see all of the knowledge that it's learned. So if you ask a generic question, the helicopter is very high. But if you make it specialized, you're lowering the helicopter into a narrow canyon of knowledge. So
Yes, that's really great advice. I recommend just adding the word expert into the role that you give ChatGPT, and that alone helps narrow it down that way.
That's awesome.
Do I have time for one more?
Yeah, please. Well, I don't know. It's Ken, you're the clock master. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Bring it
All
on.
right, let me see if I can share this. I'll try one more time. There we go.
There you go. Yep.
Okay, so I've been working on this prompt for the last couple of days, and today I came up with a breakthrough. Everybody here obviously understands that ChatGPT hallucinates, and especially when it comes to proper citations. You can ask for citations, you can ask for links, but when you click on them, they're just dead ends most of the time. But today I stumbled upon a better way to do that actually gives much more accurate citations. And it was simply by asking for links to Google Scholar searches for that specific citation rather than linking directly to it. So this is a prompt that we were asking for specific questionnaires for children's anxiety when it comes to reading and writing. And it just wasn't, it was hallucinating pretty much every citation it was giving if you just ask for it. But by asking for these links, I can click on them and then right away, let me prove that I'm not a robot. All right, and then right away, it typically just gives me the
best meeting with
That's good.
But it's just a really easy way to double check whether these sources actually exist or not.
So wait, sorry, I missed the sort of the nuance to the prompt. So the prompt is to say what exactly? To give you the, like,
yeah, it's pretty much starts here is where I start to ask for the Google Scholar search. After each citation bullet point, provide a clickable text labeled Google Scholar search, which should link to the search for the specific research paper. The hyperlink should simplify the search term to use just the title. And the reason why I did that was because it was getting certain authors wrong, and then it was coming up as if the citation didn't exist, but it was just the author was wrong, but the title was correct. So I just had it search for the title.
That's great.
And then by including this line, it omits, if I don't include this, then ChatGPT wants to start its response by reminding me that it doesn't have access to the internet and that its responses might be inaccurate. And I think that alone gives it a higher chance of actually being inaccurate, because it gives it the like permission, basically starting it off that way, saying the rest of this might be inaccurate. But by preempting that in my own prompt, it gets straight to the answer, and it just provides much more accurate responses that way.
That's awesome. And with that, we are at our 10-minute mark.
All right.
Camille, that was awesome. Thank you. Eric Sander, you got a confessional you want to do?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can I, let me share my screen. This is going to be a live
demo?
Live confessional. All right.
You don't know what you're confessing about yet.
Oh, I do. It, why won't, there we go. All right. Okay. So tonight is just what oh my God. log sorry, I love doing this. This is like the perfect example of my experience with, this is a true confessional, my experience with AI is the best case. I'll get the best case over with first, because that's the other half, is Evo Henning. She said she looks at, tens of thousands of images. I think it was 60,000 a week, but it could have been like that. Yeah, I think it was 60,000 a week that she looks at. And so that, to me, like, that's the best case of AI. It's just a volume of stuff that you can then curate, right? The generative AI. But my other experience is it's just been one of like constant frustration of with other tools, I can figure them out. Like if somebody tells me a little Excel hack or some HTML code, or back in the day, ActionScript or whatever, eventually I can get there. I can Google stuff, and eventually I can like solve it. And with all these AI tools, just kind of accessing them has made me a little batty, frankly. So I want to talk about what Kyle said about just dragging the image in and how easy that was for him. And so he says, oh yeah, you just drag the image and it'll describe it to you. So I went over to Bing and I said, can you describe images? And it said, of course. And then so I Googled pairs in space, as one does, just wondering what would come up. So there has to be an image of a pair in space. And I thought these are too weird. They're all going to be called pairs in space. So it needs to be something a little, with like a normal, let's try this one. And then, so right, so it answers, how can I share an image with you? This is too tedious, I apologize, but you're getting the real experience of me. Okay, so it says you can upload it to a website. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy the link to this image, and I'm just gonna paste it in here. And let's just see what it says. please. Oh, I didn't do it right. Okay, that's actually saying the right thing. So that was a terrible example. What did I use before? Right, so my previous pairs in space search yielded this. And I thought that's just the kind of thing. There's enough context in the article that it'll be able to lie about it, but it still won't tell me what it's actually seeing. Let's describe this one. And so I put in this, okay, so it's not doing it right. One more, please. Okay, so this is I sent it this link, copy image address, to this picture of like a table with some chairs at it, and it's telling me
it's an
image of a
So Eric, try downloading the image to your machine and then drag the image into the.
Yes.
Oh, you've done
that. This is my experience with AI. So that's why I asked you, have you actually done it? Because then I went to YouTube and got the little tutorial, and it says now Bing allows visual input, and all you have to do is click on your toolbar, and next to your microphone, there's a little image thing, and you click on the image, and you can either add the URL, or you can upload from the device, or you can drag it over. And before I did that, of course, I downloaded the pairs in space, not image, and I dragged it over, and I got, oh, there it is. That's not very helpful. And then so finally, I found that YouTube tutorial, and I don't have that. And then sorry to finish up. I know this is boring, but this is like, I think this is just an important moment in time, because I remember seeing a meme not that long ago, like, why did it take 30 hours to download a song? I don't understand. That kind of thing. So this one day we won't even imagine that, fairly soon, any of these problems, never mind having screens and mice and all that. Where was I? Right. So when I drag it over, it doesn't work. And then, right, so I don't have access to it. It's a mystery. And then I even went to my PC, and which is a Windows machine, and went to Edge there, and still, even on my, and I have a Microsoft account as well. So I've got the Word, and this is a MacBook that I'm on, but I still have Microsoft Office installed on it, and I have a Microsoft account, and I use Outlook all the time, and so on. Anyway, that is my confessional of my experience. I was watching other people do things and just flailing to get access to them.
It looks like you don't have access to it, because if I go look at my Bing right now, it's I've got that little add an image icons, and you don't. So I don't know. You could try option reloading, clearing cache, things like that. It might also just be they're rolling it out to special people, and I'm special. You know, it's also possible that they knew you were off.
Right?
What's that?
You're a TikTok influencer, right?
I am a TikTok influencer.
Right.
It's also possible that Microsoft knew you were off grid for 2 weeks, and they're like, no, he doesn't get to play with images. You can't leave the internet.
Never.
Looks like we have a question from Beth. Question or comment?
Yeah, I have it as part of the search in Bing, but it does not. Let's see. It doesn't describe it, right? So if
you have to tell it what you want to do, so you can say,
so,
like, please describe what's in this image.
okay.
And then drag the image to it. You don't have to say please. I find myself shooting at these and then
Yeah,
have to
I
say,
know.
better results, please.
Nice.
Worst results.
Yeah, right. That asshole.
Be nice to the robots.
I'll show you.
Yeah, it's still just giving me it's giving me shopping.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that little dose of frustration.
I share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think your point's a good one. I think one of the biggest frustrations I have is predictability. Like, within Midjourney, like I come up with a character that I love and I'm like, I want to replicate that, and then it's essentially impossible to do it. I agree that I think 2 or 3 years from now we'll look back lovingly on these times, but AI right now is more like going to a bad astrologer. I have a feeling you're going to get something you want within the next 27 iterations.
Well, what does it say about the collective planet? Like, we're not doing half bad, but we're not getting it accurate all the time. Like,
yeah,
it's just a normal human being.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I were to approach someone on a subway and ask it the same
right.
questions I ask an AI, probably get the same answers.
Yeah, with less
Very,
nuance.
very
Yeah.
human-like.
Yeah. All right, who wants to go next? Next confessional. We got time for one more, maybe two. Mark Fabian.
Right.
Yes. So there's 3 different websites I want to show you guys. That's kind of related to a few things that were mentioned.
You're also a little muffled. If you can get closer to your mic, that would be great.
Oh, let me see if my mic works better. Is my mic working better or still bad?
I don't know. Sounds okay. I mean, we can hear you, but it was a little muffled.
It was, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so well, I guess I might just share my screen.
Yeah, the little up arrow in the box if you haven't used Google. Google Meet.
There we go. I guess I'm gonna start with the most interesting one, which I've found very recently. So I hadn't tested anything myself, but the forgeai.com is supposed to allow you to build applications without knowing any code. So I've seen it like be wrong sometimes, like because I was watching someone like try and use it, but apparently they have a marketplace where when you do build something out of their platform,
you could sell it.
You could sell it. Yeah, they have their own.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
It is. It's kind of like their own Play Store.
Yeah.
They have like already made applications made by people, community members. I tried it out where like it creates a children's book by inputting some things. So it's really cool. I hadn't played around with it yet, so I don't know its full capacity. But I think this is like a really important site for sure. So another site that I want to point out was when you're like mentioning where the sources are and the fact that, like with Chat GPT, we don't know where the information's coming from, right? It's completely somewhere in the internet that it gets it from. So this website, perplexity.ai, will tell you the sources it actually extracts their data from. So, you get more credible sources from it. So that's a interesting thing from this. And I remember from one of your TikToks for your stand-up comedian, Kyle, like you mentioned about AI summarizing actual videos for you. I found an app called Edify, which is actually kind of like a Chromecast extension, and it does summarize your whatever video that you click summarize too, but you do have to pay for its service to do so. But it exists now. You know. So those are the 3 websites I want to show. But I believe Daniel mentioned something about me earlier, and like he also mentioned something about the fact like the future is kind of shaky. You know, we don't know what's going on with AI, and like how does it look for like people that doesn't really fit in the whole like entry level anymore concepts. And something I guess I wanted to share of like one of my big ideas I wanted to do is to kind of address that issue. And just to share with you guys, like I have a degree in economics, and one of my dreams that I've always had since I've got out of college is to really introduce the world into a different economic system. And I was planning to use that with like cryptocurrency. I know like crypto is kind of immoral, but I have my own way where we could use it for good, where I'm introducing a different economic system that people could use, that I feel like solve the problem of greed and corruption and things like that. So that's my insane dream that I have to do it. If anyone's like really curious about my plans about it, you could talk to me. But just to let you know, that's one of my dream projects.
Have you started using AI to realize it or to explore it?
It's a very, very, very complicated idea, because like I have no idea how to do crypto. I don't know how to make a coin. It involves making a crypto coin. It involves making an application that works with that crypto coin. It severely needs security because it deals with money. And
ChatGPT is good at smart contracts, so
okay,
it can help. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. It's I mean, I could share my idea with you guys if you want. I'll probably put in the Discord or something. It's a little long.
Yeah, why don't you jump in the Discord and start a conversation there and see if we can get a conversation going about it? Because yeah, I'm sure it's a big topic, so that might be better for the Discord in between meetings. But that's awesome. Thank you for sharing all that stuff.
Looks like we have a question from Daniel Ritchie.
Just a quick comment. Mark, would love to connect. I've done quite a bit with blockchain and crypto and Web3, and could at least point you in the right direction for, building your own tokens or smart contracts or whatever you're looking for. So happy to have a conversation around that.
Sounds great. Absolutely.
Another love connection made in the AI salon.
Put the road back around.
That's right.
All right, Jane, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I know. I just, as one dreamer to another, I don't think that your idea for like a different economic system is too crazy. I'm a writer, a creative, so what do I know? But I think that between like what people experience through the pandemic and how they want to kind of change that work-life balance, and then also like how AI is changing our work. Like, I think there is a huge canvas to like reimagine how we want to have like prosperity in our economic systems, and like maybe we can work 30 hours a week and still make a living and then like be a human, and so whatever your it's not crazy, and I feel like whatever ideas you have like about that, it's worth exploring and experimenting and kind of throwing some blood against the wall. So yeah.
If Karl Marx can do it, you can.
Shut up, Bradley.
Brad's in a dark place tonight.
But we are. What are we? Empathetic.
We're empathetic to Brad's cynicism and darkness.
No,
and we'll be drinking soon, so it's okay.
That was okay. That was a positive comment. One guy created a whole new economic system. Like, just wrote a
He
book.
created it.
It's true. He just wrote a book. That's all he did. Somebody else took over.
Whether it works is
Right.
another issue.
Yes. Hey, it works for some people. Others don't.
Awesome. Well, this has been great. Allie, what do you think? What are your thoughts on your co-hosting this and how things went tonight?
It was fantastic. I really enjoyed the group participation and collaboration on this. For a while now, okay, so I've been attending this group since the first meeting, and I feel like we regularly have these conversations where we're like, but how about if we all team up and do something that fixes all of this, and then we can not hate our lives anymore. Like, I feel like we keep on like talking about it, and today, for me at least, felt a little bit more like moving towards that kind of collaborative, let's actually work towards plans and solutions. And apologies, I forget who was just speaking about a new economic system. I didn't catch. Was that Mark?
That was Mark.
Mark, yeah.
You
Yeah.
are. It's definitely not crazy, and you're in the right room to be thinking about things like that. I think everyone here is really open-minded to reimagining what the possibilities could be for the future. And I guess my one little last kind of doomsday late stage capitalist take on that is, if we don't team up and like decide how to take advantage of this together, we're not getting a cut of the pie. Like if we don't decide the economic system, they're gonna decide it for us and tell us what it is, and we're not gonna like it. So yeah. I am all for teaming up and finding ways to take action together. And
That's
I look
awesome.
forward to continuing these meetups.
Yeah, terrific. I like it. And I would also encourage you, I know for some folks, Discord might not be your love language. In fact, it might be a confusing mess. But I really would encourage you to get active in Discord, start these conversations, basically continue this idea of sharing what you know, sharing what you learn, ask questions, come up with crazy ass new economies. And let's start collaborating and playing. That's the whole idea of this community. So
it is. I'm like an internet addict. I'm always on Discord. So it's not like random stuff you just want to like spout out at someone. Go there and do that. Someone will respond. Probably me, but also maybe.
Terrific. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you. And here in Denver, we can go grab drinks over at Zeppelin Station if you want to hang out. For those of you remotely, you can hang out with us too. You just can't, have a drink. Well, I guess you can locally. But anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you. I'll take this recording and put it up on the YouTube channel so you can go back and reference it. And we will see you in 2 weeks and on Discord.
Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.